Welcome to the channel. My name is Dr. Gyesie, transformational coach here at Inner Mileage Coaching, where we help folks understand the trauma basis of their limited self-beliefs and how to take inspired action to escape abuse and limits once and for all. Today we're going to talk about the sacred exit, how empaths escape the narcissistic matrix and reclaim divine authority. So it's important to realize that this is not therapy or coaching. This is not revenge. This is a transmission. And if you've been targeted by narcissists again and again and again, this message is for you. And the point is, you were targeted not because you were weak. You were targeted because you're radioactive with divine purpose. That's really the whole story. And it's important that you acknowledge that this isn't just about interpersonal trauma, but your abuse through narcissism is an initiation into spiritual warriorship. And the empath's pattern of being drawn into narcissistic dynamics is not a pathology. It's a soul-coded awakening trigger. So let me ask you this. Do you often find yourself in situations where you say, well, how did I miss it? How did I not see it? Why do I feel more lost after leaving? Why do they keep showing up in different faces? These are signs that you are still inside the resonance field, even if you're out of the relationship with a narcissist, be it familial or intimate or otherwise. So it's important to realize that this isn't just about avoiding narcissists. It's becoming so sovereign that your field becomes immune to the narcissist frequency. So let's talk a little bit about this. The narcissist as a prison warden of an old system. So the narcissist isn't just a person. They are a frequency pattern holding a system in place. So the point here is narcissists are archetypal agents of entropy, meaning they unconsciously uphold the matrix of spiritual amnesia. And their job is to delay, distort, and extract light from those who carry soul memory, like you. And they do this by feeding off the loops that keep you, the empath, questioning yourself, such as guilt, shame, self-doubt, compassion, and confusion. So when you think of the work of Gyesie from the fourth way, Gyesie often talks about mechanical humans run programs and feed off others' attention. And then the Buddhist concept, the concept of Mara in Pali, is really about the tempter, these demons that arise in the greatest moment of your awakening, which is not dissimilar from what happens in Plato's cave, where the narcissists are the shadows trying to convince you it's reality. And you can find Plato's cave in the Republic. It's one of the key stories, a very good one. So the point is, you were a light being caught in a trauma frequency, and the narcissist didn't choose to love you. They chose to leech off your untapped power, and they were there to delay your remembrance. It's as simple as that. So with that said, it's important to realize that escaping a narcissist is a frequency, not a location. In other words, no contact isn't enough. You must achieve no resonance. And the things to take away from this point is you can block the narcissist while still being energetically tethered to them. And true escape happens when your nervous system no longer resonates with the trauma frequency. That means a regulated vagus nerve, neutralizing emotional bait, and dissolving fantasy bonding. I hope they get better, they will get better, they're nicer, they love me still. And it's important to realize that emotions create electromagnetic coherence or incoherence. So you are either sending out a loopable signal or a sovereign one, according to the HeartMath Institute. And you collapse the wave function of identification if you don't believe in it. Even if you don't believe in it. Collapsing the wave function of identification can't manifest. And the fawn response in trauma mimics intimacy, but it's survival through people pleasing. That's what a trauma bond looks like. So the point is, you don't exit by walking away from the narcissist or narcissistic system. You exit by transmuting the internal signature that said, I need your love to feel safe. That's how the lock-on opens. And that's how you begin to realize that you're stuck in a dynamic that has nothing to do with you. And to get out, there has to be a rewrite. So how do you rewrite the soul contract so you're no longer resonant to this vibration? Well, importantly, you agree to the contract, if you may, with a narcissist, which also means you have the power to renegotiate. So what do you realize from this? That soul contracts are not punishments. They are agreements made under the illusion of disempowerment. And the empath may have unconsciously agreed to heal their family lineage by absorbing dysfunction. Therefore, escaping means ending the martyr role and stepping into the liberator archetype. It's very, very, very important. And you see this across academic, spiritual, and esoteric dimensions where, and I'm a big fan of Carl Jung, particularly the Red Book, you see where Carl Jung talks about archetypes live in us until they are integrated. That's a process of individuation. And as a result, our choices echo across timelines until resolved. And you realize that the wound is the opening, the threshold. And you reclaim power by facing this Mara or demon, not running away from it. So it's important that empaths realize that you incarnate into wounded families because you think you can fix it. But your job isn't to fix the spell, your job is to break it. And that begins by saying, I choose me. I choose me first. Remembering that you were programmed to choose other people first. And this is a very deep program. I even think about my own experience with this. And sometimes I wonder how I was able to break the spell. But it takes a lot of work and effort, decades of work to really see that you're in a spell. But let's talk about how to stay free after you've renegotiated. And I'll give you just a few, maybe 3 or 4. I want to tell you that sovereignty is a practice. Becoming sovereign and free is a practice. It's not just a moment where there's a time stamp on the day you became sovereign, right? So there's that. But that's not what this is about. You see, sacred boundaries are energetic geometry, meaning having a boundary, a sacred boundary, is not a fence, it's not a defense, it's geometry. And the sacred boundary is exactly what frequency gets access to your time, your body, and your thoughts. And geometry holds forms where boundaries hold the identity. That's the first. The second is to practice self-observation versus over self-abandonment. What does this mean? It means that the narcissist largely controlled and manipulated you by engendering reactions. Trigger, reaction, trigger, reaction. So when you begin to observe your reactivity with the neutrality, that takes away the narcissist's power. And you become the quantum observer of your old trauma scripts. So the technique here is to pause, witness, name, reframe. Or you can use RAIN by Tara Brach, right? Recognize, acknowledge, and so forth. So when you get past this, you begin to realize that nervous system mastery is how you control access to the new you. And here we're talking about the vagus nerve, which determines whether you choose the same timeline or a new one. And your regulated nervous system is how you break the spell-breaking technology through nostril breathing, cold exposure, mantras, affirmations, and so forth. And of course, ultimately, solitude or divine solitude is important because it's not rejection by society, it's recalibration. Because solitude resets your field so you're no longer in a place of emitting the signal that attracts predators. So what are some practices you can have? Go on a silence fast or practice being unavailable to emotional vampires. And realize that when solitude feels holy, instead of lonely, the spell is broken, right? Then you think about all of this. And if any of this connects to you, type transform in the comments. You have to realize that you didn't just get away, you graduated. And you're no longer an echo of a wound. You are now the voice of a truth that can't be seduced, manipulated, or collapsed So the narcissist will try to find you, but you no longer exist in their control. Keep ascending and realizing that there's absolutely no one like you, and keep shining your light. Peace.